Journaling is actually a waste of time. It is literally actually activating things that you don't want in your vibrational field. However, there is another technique of journaling that is exceptionally powerful, and I have used it, and it's one of my single most favorite tools to shift your mood from something that's negative into even just slightly positive. And sometimes you can get all the way to like feeling like ecstasy by the end of this journaling process. It really depends on how much momentum and negative energy is circulating around this subject. So for me personally, if I calibrate journal on something that's only small, I can go from feeling irritated and frustrated about it to just feeling amazing about it by the end of it. But if it's something a little bit bigger, like maybe a relationship with like a parent or a sibling or like an ex-partner that keeps coming into your mind, if it's something a little bit more dramatic like that, then it can take a little while to shift that needle. Every single time that I have calibrated, I have found that it's insanely good to move from over here in despair a little bit closer, and then like a day later or 2 days later I'll move even closer, and then it'll just keep getting closer and closer and closer. And by the way, when you actually start to take action on shifting your vibration on purpose, the universe will swoop in there to support you. Because for me, when I was doing these journaling processes, I wouldn't get all the way to like feeling good about it, but I would feel a little bit better. And then the next morning, the first thing that would pop up on my YouTube would be like a message from Bashar or like Abraham Hicks or something, and it would speak directly to that issue, and it would give me this sense of clarity. So not only are you shifting your mood with this calibration process, but you are actually opening and signaling to the universe that I want some assistance with moving this. I no longer want this to be my reality, and I'm actively making effort to change that. So what is calibrating journaling? Calibrating journaling is only using one sentence at the beginning to state your issue and not giving that more power. Because what a lot of people do with journaling is that they will sit there and they will write out everything that's going wrong in their life, and they might feel better by the end of it because it is sort of like a release and a venting. But what people don't realize, because it does feel good to complain to your friends and have them agree, but the more attention you give to a subject, the more likely it's going to keep showing up in your experience. So people that complain to their friends all the time are actually going to have those things happen in their experience way more than if they weren't complaining about it and if they were calibrating it. So what does the word calibration actually mean? Calibrating means to realign with your inner being. In this context, we're taking like a negative statement and we're turning that statement into something more positive. So it may not be able to get from like, so let's like use for example, I can't stop thinking about my ex and I miss him and like I feel lonely or something like that. And if that's what's been bothering you and it's been coming up in your experience a lot, if you then, the next statement that you could make has to just feel just that little bit better than the last statement that you made, which means that it might not be a positive statement, it might just be a little bit less negative. And by doing that, you are slowly moving yourself from this vibrational set point where all that is available to you is negativity. When you are in a low vibrational mood, you only have access to low vibrational things until you reach for something a little bit higher, which is why I discourage people trying to make those quantum leaps, which means they're going from despair all the way to joy in like not very much steps. Like you're better off moving from like despair to like frustration to like a little bit of pessimism to like, oh, a little bit of hope and a little bit of this, and you start to like move your way up and out. It's much more comfortable and it's much more effective than trying to jump from 0 to 100. It's like trying to lose like 50 kilos in like a very short amount of time. It's just, it's kind of possible, but it's not recommended, and it's not going to last you as long as if you didn't do that. Okay, so what you're trying to do with this calibration journaling is that you're trying to reach for a thought that feels slightly better than the last thought each and every time. So we've moved from I can't stop thinking about my ex and it's actually so painful for me and I don't know whether I'm ever going to meet somebody, to I know that there are actually other people out there who probably had the same experience as me and who have come out of this. So that's like a little bit better, right? Or if that's too positive for you, you could go for something a little bit more like, well, I've broken up with him now, or it's over now, and there's nothing really to be done about it. So I guess looking at it this way isn't really going to help me, and that doesn't really feel super positive, but it is kind of true, and it is going to help you move on to the next thought, which could be something like, I have had breakups before, and I guess I always did find somebody else after that, and then that's another step closer. And then from that point, we can find we have available to us something different than we had available to us 2 statements ago. And you can see how that can sort of help push you towards that more positive feeling. And it's sort of gently massaging. It's bringing that into alignment slowly and calmly, rather than trying to like force it into alignment, which is going to keep you in resistance. So calibrating journaling has been the best tool that I've ever used, and it's better than just thinking about it too, because your thought life, it wants you to it's too distracting. When you have a pen and paper, it literally grounds you in that moment, and it helps you to stay focused, and it really does something to your neural pathways up here too. It like increases the amount of learning or the amount of absorption of the information that you're writing down, which is why it's really important not to do normal journaling, which is where you just complain and complain and complain and complain and complain. Like, I'm not saying everyone's journaling processes are like that, but a lot of people are journaling like that and complaining to their friends, because it's no different. So when you want to really shift that negative emotion around a subject, get a pen and paper out, write down the negative statement to start off with, and then just start reaching for a thought that feels just slightly better than the last one each and every time, until you get to the end and you feel that you've actually shifted the needle, where you've moved from like over here where you're negative to a little bit closer to where your inner being is. So what we're trying to do is just shift that needle a little bit each and every time we do a journaling process. If you want one-on-one coaching with me and you need a little bit more specific support, please email me. My email is available in my bio. I love you all so much, and I'm really excited. I'm actually going to be doing some weekly live sessions where we can have Q&A, and we can actually start to engage with each other, and people that have like active questions within them, I can actually go into explaining them a little bit more in detail on these live sessions. So stay tuned. That will be rolling out really soon.